Keanu Reeves' portrayal of Jonathan Harker in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, 1992, remains one of the most divisive performances in his career, frequently cited by critics as a worst performance. However, upon closer inspection, it's clear that Reeves' choice was not only fitting but perhaps one of his finest moments as an actor, truly capturing the essence of Jonathan Harker as envisioned by both the novel and Coppola's reimagined Gothic film. Keanu Reeves, a perfect fit for Jonathan Harker. In countless adaptations of Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula, Jonathan Harker often occupies a secondary role, a mere pawn in the love triangle between Mina, her fiancé, and the predatory Count Dracula. In Dracula, Harker is young, inexperienced, and deeply naive, traits that are clearly expressed in Reeves' performance, even if some critics didn't appreciate it at the time. The film asks the audience to understand that Jonathan's sweetness and naivete are both his greatest weaknesses and most endearing qualities. It's not about power, heroism, or command but the tragedy of being a bystander while evil looms, especially when paired against Dracula's sophisticated malevolence. Reeves captures this well, embodying a character who is earnest, but also, at times, oblivious to the true horror surrounding him. This means that rather than present Harker as an impressive action hero, he comes across as vulnerable, unfit to protect his beloved against such an ancient, charismatic force. This subtlety reflects the character's deeper emotional layers, something Reeves, often criticized for being out of his depth, actually manages to convey. Coppola's vision for Harker. Coppola, in defending Reeves' performance, expressed his surprise at the overwhelming negative reaction and his belief that Keanu's effort was earnest, if imperfect. The famed director pointed out that Reeves was never insincere in his portrayal. He simply took an overly meticulous approach with the character's accent, aiming to match the authentic nature of the English gentry. Unfortunately, critics didn't buy this interpretation, calling the accent flat and odd. However, Coppola highlighted something more telling. Keanu, as Harker, was embodying the awkwardness and emotional immaturity required for the role. Rather than craft a suave, highly capable protagonist, Coppola needed an actor who could portray someone who is the polar opposite of Dracula, unrefined, insecure, even uncomfortable in his environment. Harker's role is that of a near victim who isn't built to face down terror head-on. He must rely on others, including vampire hunter Abraham Van Helsing and his companions, to fight the true battles. Reeves, despite being doubted by many, was genuinely right for this. Why Keanu Reeves works as Harker. Jonathan Harker is not the classic hero type. He is young and struggling to prove himself. And Keanu, as a still-rising star during the film's production, projected the same quality. He was both nervous about stepping into a world with legendary actors like Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder, and equally earnest in his role as Harker. His youthful sincerity contrasted against the more sophisticated performances around him, making him uniquely suited to play a character so full of unrefined enthusiasm and emotional immaturity. Re-evaluating the criticism. The critiques surrounding Reeves' performance focus heavily on the perception that his accent was poorly executed, his portrayal flat, and his chemistry with Winona Ryder underwhelming. However, this reading misses the point of Reeves' interpretation of Harker. He was meant to be a bit awkward, both as a young man and in his mismatched fit in the larger narrative. There's a sincerity in his youthful attempts to navigate a relationship with Mina, despite the fact that he doesn't truly understand the complexity of the evil they are up against. This is a quality that works in harmony with the rest of the movie's atmosphere, which balanced excessive stylistic flair with a tragic romantic tone. Keanu's subtle choices, from his awkward flirtation with Mina to the desperate attempts to match Dracula's dark sophistication, elevate the storytelling rather than detract from it. Enduring legacy as Jonathan Harker. Although Keanu Reeves is far from being the standout Dracula actor that Gary Oldman is, his performance as Jonathan Harker is one of the memorable pieces of the film. While many Dracula portrayals fade into obscurity, Reeves' portrayal lingers. The awkwardness, naivete, and longing in Harker is central to the film's tragic narrative. Without him, the darkness of Dracula's curse wouldn't resonate in the same way. And Keanu's legacy as the cinematic Harker stands out, often cited by fans as the one Harker that still sticks with them today. In the end, the sincerity and naivete that critics once scoffed at come to embody the very core of the character. Conclusion. Reeves' portrayal of Jonathan Harker in Bram Stoker's Dracula may not have won over every critic, but upon reevaluation, it emerges as an intuitive, perfectly fit performance that served the film's tone and tragic themes. The Harker that Keanu Reeves brought to life in 1992 became an iconic embodiment of the unassuming hero who is doomed by forces far greater than his own understanding, perfectly capturing the vulnerability and love that the tragic story demands.